still love that intro. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody this evening? Welcome to Sports Unplugged. And tonight we're joined, obviously, by Chris. And down there, looking as beautiful as ever, Mr. Callum Sanderson. Good evening, everyone. How are we?
Good.
Chris, you're starting early, mate.
Hey, mate, we're a final, so I may as well start drinking.
This is true. Wow. Yeah.
That intro, guys. Fantastic.
What's that, sorry?
That intro.
That is sweet, isn't it? I
quality.
absolutely love it, man. It's absolute quality. Evening, everyone in the chat. How are we all?
Took me ages to do that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
Right. Let's do the housekeeping at the start. Callum is all suited and booted and ready for the show with the apple juice. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have indeed, Laura.
Right. If you could all in the chat just do the like, comment, subscribe. We would really appreciate it tonight. We're sponsored by our charity Féileacáin. All the details for Féileacáin are going to be below in the description and on all of the LFC Daytrippers social media, as well as the LFC Daytrippers website. And onwards with the show. We're going to start off with the Premier League. We have a full Premier League schedule. No games cancelled. What's going on?
Listen.
What's going on?
Now listen.
Don't speak too, Sean.
We've got to think about this now.
Yeah,
it's Arsenal Burnley this weekend. Arsenal had a player sent off. Burnley haven't played for 7 years. I'm not sure it might happen, to be honest. So.
Well, fingers crossed. It looks like we're going to have a full Premier League schedule, as well as a lot of other stuff that's going on over the weekend with UFC and cricket and what else is there? AFCON, tennis, women's football, loads going on. So we're going to try and get through as much as we can tonight. We'll start off with Everton again. Start off with Everton and Villa.
Before we start, though, Norwich are now 3 points behind Everton, just to put that in.
Has it finished?
Because they were 3-0 up with 92 minutes, even Norwich.
3-0.
Yeah.
3-0. I flicked over. Whoa, 3-0. And there's a 12-minute delay because of the floodlights went out.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was flicking between the Norwich game and I was actually watching Kopish with you guys, Callum.
Yeah, I saw you, bro.
Josh Sargent got a brace. And Josh Sargent's first goal tonight was an almost identical flick to the Divock Origi one earlier in the season, where the ball came in and his foot he was like a contortionist where he got the volley on it. It was absolute sweet goal. And then Emmanuel Dennis got sent off for Watford for 2 yellows.
That's a big killer. That.
Yeah.
Big.
And it's getting to an issue now because tomorrow you've got Everton Villa, and Everton are in horrendous form. You've got Gerrard Goodison and Duncan Ferguson taking charge of Everton. Chris, how do you see this one going, mate?
Car crash.
Loving the blue top, by the way. Are you advertising for the job?
No,
or
it's green.
Is the application gone in?
It's green. It's not blue. It's blue.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I am putting my hat in the ring, to be the Everton manager. So far, Laura Duffy's backing me. So, if Laura Duffy says it's possible,
and you could finish Rafa's efforts, let's be fair.
I'd fucking make sure as well. I wouldn't even hide either. I just go, all going down, and I'm taking you down, and I'll never manage again. And I'm quite content. Look, I think Villa will win comfortably. I mean, if you're blue at the moment, you've got Duncan Ferguson in charge. Okay, you've got Steven Gerrard, who you all hate, coming back. The left back who didn't want to be there, coming back. Coutinho, who embarrassed you quite a few times at Liverpool, coming back. I mean, what more can you want? I mean, you've got the Everton temporary manager, saying, "Don't worry, they know what it means now to be an Everton player." I mean, it's not like he's been there 6 years. So has he just been sat there quietly for 6 years going, I can't say anything? No matter what Rafa Ancelotti says and they're talking nonsense, I'll just sit here quietly. I don't think he's that type of character. Yeah. So he did all right, actually, to be fair to him. As much as I take the piss out of it. He did all right when he did interim last night. I think he got a couple of wins. Big win against Chelsea, but no. I just feel I've gone 2-0 Villa. Villa, it suit Villa, I think, this game. So I think, and of course, there's Danny Ings ex Liverpool as well, so another person who know him. So,
I
read them all off. They wanted the haters.
This is going to be an absolute. This could be anything tomorrow, Callum, because the Everton fans will be up. They will be up because it's Gerrard, and they'll be baying for something. And if they don't get a reaction off the players, that are whatever 11 that Duncan puts out, if they don't see a reaction in the first 15 minutes, there'll be carnage there.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we say they're going to. I reckon you give it 5 minutes, Everton will go flat. Because I think Villa are just going to play them off the park and beat them really comfortably. And they can't really boo, because who are you booing? Are you booing the players? Are you booing your interim manager?
It'd be like it's just like white noise as well.
Yeah. Who are you going to boo? Because you didn't really want Rafa there, which is, again, fair enough. I wouldn't want an ex-Everton manager managing Liverpool.
Yeah, but why would we employ one?
Yeah, very true. Yeah. Yeah, they don't win anything. But it's like, who are they going to now blame? Who's to blame there now? Who is it? The owners? Is it Duncan?
Mashiri's bought more. Put more money into the club. He's bought 100 million into the club, and now his shareholdings in Everton is 94%. There's not much wiggle room to put more money into the club, and I don't know if that 100 million is to clear debts, to keep the club afloat, because they can't do anything. I don't know.
They can't spend them on because they're in breach. They're close to they're close to an FFP breach, because I'm sure it's over 70% of their turnover is wages, which is a lot. I mean, for all we talk about Man United, give players big wages, it's still left to 50% what they turn over. So it's in business terms, my very basic business knowledge, it's comfortable. Liverpool's around 55-ish, so it's comfortable.
Yeah,
that's why you get the big sponsorship deals. That's what. To be honest, that's probably the question you're going to ask at the owners. He hasn't probably got enough sponsorship or enough thing. Now, probably that's what the stadium's there for, but just spent badly. I mean, it's a bit like when we got Damien Kamoli, when FSG got fooled by thinking Damien Kamoli was the answer. Marco Brands and the guy they had before that, just car crash that they bought.
Steve Walsh they had.
Steve Walsh said that because Leicester won the league, they thought he'd have the secret, and he bought 17 number 10s, and they're all crap, and they're still paying for some of them, even though they're no longer at the club. Brilliant. Yeah.
Well, look, I've gone for Villa 2-1. I think Everton. I think that Calvert-Lewin. They've got 2 players left at the club now that are saleable assets. And come the end of the season, the decision is going to have to be made on at least one of them if they want to rebuild the club. Because you look into the Midlands tonight and over the last day or so, when you see what's going on at Derby County, just come away from the Premier League a second. Derby County are on the verge of going out of business, of doing a bury, and they're not very far away from it now.
Hasn't someone come in with a bid though, Kev?
No. Someone's gone wrong with it though, I think.
Something's gone wrong. It was tonight. They were talking about it before the Norwich Watford game. That I think they've brought in administrators, and they're only a couple of weeks away from what Gary Neville described it as someone getting a phone call at Derby saying that's it, the doors are closed, your club is gone.
I mean, for people of an older generation, this is this is a side that's won the league. The old Division 1. Semi-finalists in the European Cup under Brian Clough. This is prestigious. It's a big name club. A
lot of good top quality players and coaches and managers.
Everyone
always remembers the Derby side that still holds the record for 11 points in a season, but they had a Derby side before that in the Premier League, which are always there. That were always annoyingly
decent. Yeah,
they always seem to get random results. Where you go like, Derby beat United.
I've said for a long time that eventually, and it won't be long, a big club in England will go bust, because 92 professional clubs is an awful lot, especially with the COVID stuff that the country has gone through in the last 2 years, and the cost of living rises and everything that's going on in the UK. Football is a luxury, and when you've got clubs who are chasing the dream of the Premier League, creditors eventually come back for their money, and if you don't have it to pay them, then something is going to happen. And the only other thing that happens is that a club will close the doors. It very well could happen to Derby. It really could.
Hey, listen, 10 years ago, we were looking at administration, and people said, "Oh, it'll never happen." It was hours away from being a thing.
I don't think ours would have, though, Kev. I know, I might be being a bit naive. I don't think ours would have.
We wouldn't have gone to administration. But there were plenty, I think, looking at Liverpool going, "I'll wait to go to administration because it'd be even cheaper."
Yeah.
And look, people say, "Oh, it's only 10 points." Financially, that'd have been a ball ache to get out of. Liverpool could have got upside out,
but this is what Everton have to look at now. I mean, Chris, you said it there. They're 3 or 4 points above relegation. They're showing no kind of form. Yeah. They have a huge wage bill, and they have players under contract. And you're seeing it with Ousmane Dembele at Barcelona. When a player has a contract, doesn't matter what the club want to do. If the player wants to sit and stay and get paid, he will sit and stay and get paid.
Haven't Everton only just got rid of Balassi? Because he was signed a while ago, and he was on a big contract. Because look, he was doing well at Palace.
Tosson's still there.
Tosson's still there. I think. What's his name? There's one of the number 10s. I think they're still. He's on loan permanently, but they're paying his wages because that's the problem. No one will pay the wages because Premier League's big money. So
they can't afford to fall out no matter what happens. And the thing is,
I don't think they will. I don't like to wind them up, but I don't think they will. I do think the four below them are just that bit worse. But 3 points off the relegation. Norwich being 3 points off here, and admittedly they've played 2 games more. And you do look at Everton at the moment going, I'm not quite sure where the next win comes from. But what's on their positive side is you look at the sides below them, Burnley, Newcastle. I'm also looking and going, I'm not really sure where their first win comes from for a while. So
well, it's kind of quick. Just move on. Skip. Well, this one we'll just look. Brentford Wolves. I don't see anything more than a 1-1. I don't think.
I've gone 1-0 Wolves just because I think
I'm going 2-0 Wolves for me.
Yeah, I think Brentford, it would have taken a lot out of them the other night, the Wednesday night. And it's a quick turnaround. So, I just see a draw there. Big game. This is a huge game, actually. Leeds, Newcastle. And Leeds did really well last time out against West Ham, I think.
Yeah.
And Callum, I'll come to you first. At this stage of the transfer window, I expected Newcastle to be much further down the line.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say that it's been a very disappointing window, in my opinion, for Newcastle. Trippier, good purchase. Not fantastic, good purchase. I'm sorry, Chris Wood. Yes, I know it weakens Burnley, but
it was a body.
You just don't. If you want a goal scorer, don't go and get Chris Wood. What is that achieving? What is that achieving?
£25 million.
Rising to 30.
Yeah. To weaken your opponent or your opposition, yes. He will give you a target, man. He will stay fit and you can play off him. But £25 million.
Apart from God, playing off him.
Well, I would have honestly, right? I honestly expected them to set up in a 4-3-3 with Almiron on one side and Max on the other side, with someone like Joelinton coming from midfield or in the midfield with Shelby and someone sitting, just until they sign more players. But Chris, I mean, Leeds United have 20 million bid in for, is it Anderson or
American attacking mid?
American Aronson. I can't remember his bloody name.
Aronson.
That's him.
Yeah, I mean
Salzburg.
Go back to Newcastle though. When you read about the club, there's no structure there. And that's down to the previous owner. But you can only blame, and this is not me defending Mike Ashley because it's not. But you can only blame Mike Ashley for so long. These guys have been trying to buy Newcastle now for a year. So they've had a year to get this right. So surely for a year you would have had somebody lined up to be the sporting director, to be the director of football, to go, right, we've got this fella, we'll employ him. Let's face it, they've got the money, so they could pay someone for a year just to sit still. Bring him in, right? Start putting structure in place, or start to have a plan of what would you do. So let's face it, Eddie Howe was nowhere near their first shot. They wanted Emery, and then they fell with Eddie Howe, who I think's overhyped and nowhere near the hype. Nowhere deserves the hype he did. Yes, it was great getting Bournemouth up, but every year they got progressively worse because his signings got progressively worse. I mean, look, this is the guy.
Thanks to us, to be fair.
Yeah. This is the guy paid six. This guy played 6 million off of Brad Smith, who literally we tried to give away the year before, and then they forgot to play him. That's says it all. So Leeds, Leeds have done
Rafa
all
could
right.
go back to Newcastle one day.
I think it wouldn't surprise me if he's lined up for the summer, whether they're up or down, because they loved him there. They did love him there.
I don't think the fans did. We did a show not a few weeks ago. Actually, we did a transfer agenda show at the start of the transfer window, and we had a Newcastle fan on, and she was adamant that she wanted absolutely nothing to do with Rafa, purely and simply because it was yesterday's football. It was yesterday's style of football, yesterday's type of football. Now, whether you could turn around and say to Rafa, okay, you come in as a director of football and you sort out the structure of the club, you sort out the transfer policy, here's the money, you build the club. Eddie Howe, you're the first team coach. You know, and I'll give you the players, you coach the players type of thing. I don't know. But I
just think he loves the mental side of being a manager. Because let's face it, he always goes on mental jobs, doesn't he? You know, follows Mourinho after he just won the treble at Inter, goes to Real Madrid, you know, goes to Chelsea where they all hate him, goes to Newcastle where they've got Mike Ashley, you know, enough said.
And Everton.
Goes to Everton where they all fucking hate him. You know,
he's crazy. He's actually a madman.
I think he just loves the aggro. I always think with Rafa, and people don't like hearing it, he's very cold. He just goes, he's very methodical. He goes, what is the best job for me? Well, the best job I can get in England at the moment is the Everton job. But they'll all hate you. Yeah, but it's the best job.
Yeah.
But they'll hate you. And he goes, but it's the best job. Go for it.
Have to rate the mentality.
Yeah. I just don't think he cares.
I just think that generation, that generation of manager, and you're seeing it with Mourinho at Roma as well.
Yeah.
I think their days are gone.
Everton wanted him. I mean, Everton have approached him, and he's turned him down.
Football,
I mean, to be fair, also, if you're Mourinho, he's still getting paid by Spurs, and he's getting a wage at Roma, and he gets to live in Rome. I'm not being funny, like, you know.
Yeah, I know, but
it's not a bad life. It's not a bad life, you know. He's not stupid, you know.
He's living good.
I've got Leeds to win 2-0. I don't think Newcastle travel well anyway.
I've got 2-1.
I've got 3-0.
Yeah, and it's a massive game. It's massively important because Leeds need to start pulling away because they're in danger of getting dragged into a conversation.
They're starting to get players back now.
Yeah, they're turning the corner now. Patrick Stroike's back.
Yeah, Bamford should be
on
back.
His way, I think.
But I do think that this summer, if Leeds stay up, which I think they will, this summer's a bit of a big summer you might see them selling a couple of biggish stars to do a bit of a rebuild, and it's whether the manager Bielsa wants to do that because they went into the season with a small squad. Probably Bielsa should have been given a bit more than what he was given, but you saw in the first 2-3 games they went back to how they were playing 18 months ago, and it's like play wide open football. Yeah, great. United, Liverpool, City, they love all that. Brilliant. Thanks very much. They play Bournemouth every week.
Yeah.
But you know, last year, the last 6 months of it, they tightened up. And I don't mean did a Burnley, they just made it a bit harder to break down. And do you know what? They're a nightmare to play.
Yeah.
And it's just like it said this year, so it was going to go back to being like all-out attack. It's just like, I don't think it works.
Najib is saying there that Bamford is out injured again.
Third injury this year. So that game,
we'll see on that one. And Laura is saying that Matt Ritchie is out for Newcastle. Forshaw also out for Leeds.
Is that Eddie Howe just taking Matt Ritchie out? Or is that because he's actually injured?
Actually injured, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he's gone full hitman yet.
Okay.
It's a shame for Forshaw. It's a shame for Forshaw because I'm sure I read in the Athletic, this guy's missed 680. There's 686 days between games. Yeah. He's had 6 hip operations.
Oh my god!
To repair an ongoing hip issue. You know,
it's
look. I mean, you feel bad for him, but you know that's some mentality that 600 days between games and still come back from it. Plenty would have quit. Halfway through that.
I think there's 9 days left in this transfer window, and I swear to God, if I'm a Newcastle fan, I expect some serious business being done on Monday. And for the rest of next week, it's
Taki's going to Newcastle.
it's
It'd be suicide for him to go there. There's
No.
no spot for him in that team. I think Kev, you're right. I think a DM is, and if they can get a centre back over the line, but get defensive reinforcements in ASAP.
Well, the rumor is West Ham are now bidding for the Seville's
for Diego Carlos, from
Diego Carlos,
Seville.
who's
They've
basically
matched Newcastle's bid, but look, if Newcastle really want him, they'll just go and get him.
Yeah,
they're not.
But then Diego Carlos might go, but I might get in Europe next year. I won't get as big a wage, and I get to live in London.
And
that's
I might play myself into an international squad. I think it's Brazil squad.
Yeah,
I
must admit though, he's very Martin Skirtle though.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's very rash. I don't get that
well,
hype around him.
I think on the ball he's good. He's quick, and on the ball he's good. It's just his decision making is.
Problem is though, Newcastle don't have the ball very often, so he's just going to spend. He's going to spend most of the game.
Exactly, and you don't have Jules Koundé next to you bailing you out at Newcastle or West Ham. You know.
Anyway,
I was going to say Man United, West Ham.
I think it's going to be goals galore this game.
Yeah, I think it'll be.
I think because United can't defend. They're absolute powder puff at the back.
But West Ham are struggling for defenders at the moment themselves.
Which is why I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Because I just think it'll be end-to-end, and I think Antonio will bully those two centre-backs.
I think it's going to go 2-1 United. They just have a knack of getting a win when they're not meant to. And I think this will be the game.
They have not at home, though.
I think the bonus for United is Ronaldo might not be available.
If he's not available, then they definitely
he's got a bit of a neck issue.
Bruised ego. He's got a bruised ego.
Oh, yeah, he's a bit necky.
If it's his neck issue, then we know why, because he's so big-headed.
It's the hair. Yeah, who knows the hair? But it's I've got a 3-1. I'm looking forward to it because West Ham Man United is one of those games that
there's always goals in it. It's normally a good game.
Yeah, back over the years, there's needle between the two clubs as well. So it's and it wouldn't surprise me if West Ham actually turned up and turned them over. But I just think Manchester United will probably have enough.
Yes, Laszlo is brass neck. That is perfect.
Very good, Laszlo. Southampton, Man City, look, 3-0 City.
3-0 City.
Yeah, same.
And that'll probably be the half-time score, and then City will go, we'll just kick it around now for 45 minutes, because what else can we do?
They look like they're signing Julian Alvarez as well.
Yeah.
Apparently so. I mean, they do have a good record with South American players. They do buy well.
That means they don't get Haaland. I'm all for it. Chris, leave me alone. He's going to Real Madrid
with Mbappe. So
yeah, I'm pretty certain that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Although the talk is at the minute, Mbappe is talking to PSG about maybe extending.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a further 12 months.
That because Real Madrid have probably said, we can't afford to do both of you in one summer. So
no, he won't.
Agree a deal, but he'll have a buyout clause that, you know, if Real Madrid come and meets this, anybody else, it's this.
Well, wouldn't it be better for Real Madrid to do Mbappe now and then say to Dortmund, for example, right, we'll pay the release fee, but we'll loan him back to you guys and you pay his salary until we take him next season then?
Possibly.
You don't know. It's all smoke and mirrors these days, isn't it?
From memory, the Mbappe deal is the biggest issue there is going to be whatever he's signing on fee has to be paid up front. Yeah. That's the deal. There's no staging payments with signing on fees. That's an upfront payment.
Yeah.
The buyout clause for Haaland is one of those, you do it now or you won't be able to get him when you want him.
Yeah.
Because nobody in their right mind is going to be stupid enough to allow a buyout clause of £60-odd million into a Haaland contract ever again in the history of football. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think it's a case that they'll do both of them. And I think there will be a major player out of Madrid in Karim Benzema. I think Karim Benzema will be available.
I think Benzema stays one more year while those two settle in. Then he goes, because they're losing Bale, there's quite a lot of big wages going out of Real Madrid. Isco, yeah. I think someone said like it's nearly $2 million a week in wages going this summer. Yeah. Which basically covers Mbappe and Haaland and Torres, probably gives them change.
Yeah.
So they can go like
no, I just think that Haaland and Benzema will play most games. Or sorry, Haaland and Mbappe will play most games. Vinicius is outstanding this year.
Yeah.
But you do need a
Rodrigo
squad.
on the right.
I think they'll keep. I think they'll do something with Benzema to say, give us one more year. They'll probably pay him a bit more money, get these two settled in, and then we'll let you go wherever you want. And always like we won't even stand in your way. So if you say you want to go back to Lyon, we'll give you to Lyon. We won't even hold you in the way.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. But I don't think Haaland, Chelsea, unless Chelsea do something with Lukaku and bin him off, because look, that experiment hasn't worked.
But again,
then
the problem is
they won't be able to recoup enough.
Who's going to pay for it also? Who's going to pay his wage demands?
Yeah.
And that's not his fault. He was offered big wages at Chelsea, and he took it. Don't blame him. But I know we talk about wages, but that from Chelsea, United have still got this. That's why they've kept the likes of Phil Jones for so long, because everyone's looking, going, I'm not paying a Phil Jones whatever he's on, which is probably a lot of money for what he is.
150 grand a week.
Yeah, that's the challenge of the Premier League clubs. Is actually it's not the transfer fee; it's the whole package. And a lot of clubs in Europe going, I can't afford to pay.
Well, the rumor has it that the package to sign Erling Haaland is €292 million between transfer fee, agents' fees, wage package for 5 years. You're talking over £250 million of your club's assets tied up in one player. That is lunacy of the highest order for anyone.
We say that though, Kev. If, say, for example, I'm trying to think of another player.
You're not spreadsheet out, are you?
No, not tonight. Nothing prepared in prep. But let's say, for example, a player costs, I don't know, 70 million. That money's obviously there. And let's say we put them on, let's say 150k a week. Over the course of 5 years, and agent fees and all that stuff signing on, over the course of 5 years, you're probably looking at a high fee. But one, you might not keep the player for 5 years. But also two, if the player comes in and delivers, let's say, it doesn't even have to be Salah numbers. Let's say Mane numbers up until last season. Would anyone really complain?
As fans, will never complain. But
people only complain when they don't work out.
Yeah, it's not even that though. It's you look at Man City's financial returns for last year, right? Now the TV money, getting to the final, everything like that, they only barely just turned a profit. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you
invest
that kind of money.
They are used to an empty stadium, though, which also helps.
But if you invest that kind of money into, what I'm saying is, if you invest that kind of money into a player, along with the squad that he's going to be coming into, is already going to be a really high wage earning squad. You have to win top silverware. You have to win Champions Leagues just to make it justifiable. And I mean, when you factor the whole package in, and the fact that you're dealing with Mino Raiola, who every summer will be engineering interest in that player. Well, every summer you're going to go through this where Raiola is, Haaland's not happy. He's this, he's that, he's the other. He's looking at Spain. He's looking at,
because to be fair, that's what I know.
He wants to work.
That's what I know United fans with Pogba. Actually, I think a lot of the United frustration with Pogba isn't the player. It's the bollocks. It's the bollocks around him. But look, unfortunately, that's kind of, if you want to work with him, if you want to get his players, you have to deal with that shit. It's just whether you want to deal with it. Which is why
I would rather do without.
Which is why United have made a bit of a stance, haven't they? That after Pogba, they don't want to do any more Raiola deals because they basically said it's not worth all the bollocks around it, no matter how good the players. I think they've realised. And shite around is just not worth it. All the
sickener for me is that he's got some serious players, the likes of Gravenberch. I think Gravenberch would be an ideal player for Liverpool.
Definitely.
Anyway, I've got some breaking news.
Oh, shoot, go on.
Paul Joyce has just tweeted, Jurgen Klopp says Liverpool goalkeeper Kelleher will start the Carabao Cup final against Chelsea. The quote says, he has shown he deserves all the trust and faith that we have in him, and so that is the situation.
I didn't think that was up for discussion, personally.
He brought the team there. I think it is up for discussion because I'm not a fan of playing your reserve goalie in the final.
I think you play
your best keeper.
But I think that the domestic cups have been promised to him.
Every club does that, but
if you want to keep him, you keep your word to him.
Yeah.
And if you promise that he is the keeper for the domestic cups, then he is the keeper for the domestic cups. It's not even up for debate.
Well, City
unless
did it with,
the other night,
City did it with Stefan, didn't they?
Yeah. They did it with Stefan this season as well. Caballero, and they did it with Stefan. For me, I'm sorry, it's one of those things that, and it's not just because he's Irish and he's from Cork and everything like that. He's a standout number 2. He's perfectly able. He's never let anyone down. And if you want to keep him, then you keep your word. And if I understand, and I think he would have understood the reasons why Alisson had to play in the first leg, because Alisson needed the minutes to prepare for the league, which to me is the be all and end all. The league is the most important thing still. But
you're talking about a max 10% chance of winning the league. I don't think Alisson plays all that.
Maybe, but
I think if you're I think most footballers know who their number ones are in certain positions. Yeah. So if Minamino had scored in the last 2 rounds and he scored in every round, he ain't starting the final. He knows that. Divock Origi, Champions League final, he scored the crucial goals that got us to the final. He knew he wasn't going to start in that Champions League final.
He should have, though, to be fair.
Well, probably should have, because in the end, Firmino wasn't fit. Only because Bobby wasn't fit. But he also knew if Bobby was half fit, he wasn't starting. And everyone knows that. It's a keeper thing. Listen, if Kelleher starts, I'm not going to lose my shit over it because he's a good keeper. I always just think if you're in a final, you play your best available team because look, it's only our second domestic final under Klopp, and we lost the last one. So
I really want to win this as well.
Give yourself every opportunity. Now, mainly, I think Chelsea will probably play Kepa in goal because he plays on it. But the difference is Kepa is a more experienced goalkeeper as well.
I still think Kelleher has a better goalkeeper than Kepa.
He is, but you know what I mean? That Mendy's probably going to be on the bench for Chelsea, so it's going to be both reserve goalkeepers in goal. Yeah. But also, we say that, they promised this to Kelleher. Alisson's only played 1 final in his career. So it's not like Alisson's got loads of experience of. Wow! How many chances is Alisson going to? How many chances is Alisson going to get to play at Wembley and play in a cup final? He's only played 1 final in his career.
Well, so the one thing I'd say for me before I ask Callum is I don't want to get to a situation this summer where Kelleher is saying, "Look, I'm good enough. I'm good enough to go and play for any club." Even I would argue outside of the top 4. He's definitely good enough to play for any club outside of the top 6.
Yeah.
I want to go and learn my trade. I'm 23 years old. I'm not going to get any better sitting watching people play. I want to go and play. You promised me X, Y, Z. You didn't keep your promise. I want to go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can say that, but there's 2 ways around that. One is you can talk around with the final anyway. There's always a financial way of keeping people happy. But also, if Liverpool are smart, if you know Alisson's going to stay for the next 3-4 years, you could also do a deal somewhere. You could also do deal with a buyback clause. Or what did Chelsea do with Courtois? He was on a 2.5-year loan at Atletico Madrid with no recall. She said, you're literally going to play for 2 years as their number 1. You're off. You could do that with Kelleher if you find yourself a decent number 2. I mean, he's not Kelleher's level, but the lad, the keeper for West Brom,
Sam Johnson.
He's available on a free in the summer.
Yeah,
there's your backup goalkeeper for the next couple of years, who also does the home quota. You give Kelleher a 2-year loan at someone, a very decent, at least Europa League level. Say, right, go and do your trade. Play in Europe, play every week, and see what happens. That's what you do with it.
Yeah,
where do you go?
Chris hit the nail on the head. If that is the option, and he says he does want to leave, I think that's what we should do. I hope he stays. Selfishly, as a Liverpool fan, I hope he stays because I genuinely think he's a very good goalkeeper. Big fan of him. I think he's learning a lot under Alisson as well, which he might not get at another club.
In keeper terms, though, he's 23. But that's
extremely young.
That's like an 18-year-old
Yeah.
breaking in to outfield players. Keepers always come in later because it's that sort of position. You very rarely see 18, 19-year-old keepers playing regular first team football. And if they are, they're like a Donnarumma or Dyche. You know,
Casillas, like you're talking about generational talents.
Well, look at Alisson. We signed Alisson at similar at 24 when we signed Alisson. He had one full year at Roma as a number one. Before that, he was reserve. He was reserve at Roma. So that's all it takes sometimes. So and look, he's not stupid. He signs a 5-year deal. Even they said you're the cup keeper. 6 years. We've said to a lot of keepers have been told they're the cup goalkeeper until the final comes.
Yeah.
But look, if Klopp might have said that now, he's very likely to go back at it. Unless touch wood, and I'm not wishing out, unless he picks up a nickel. That's the only reason now Kelleher doesn't play is if he picks up a nickel.
Yeah. The only thing that he's had trouble with his hands, and for a keeper, I think he broke his hand at the most unfortunate time because Gavin Bazunu took over. I think he's at Portsmouth now, but he's Man City. He's on Man City's books. And Bazunu took over for Ireland as the number one on the night. I think Kelleher was due to play, and Kelleher picked up an injury. And Basunu's been outstanding, and he really has. He's been absolutely outstanding. So Ireland have two potential world-class goalkeepers. Unfortunately, we don't have a world-class number 9. We have had either. But let's quickly move on to, look, we'll skim over this one. Arsenal-Burnley.
2-1
Assuming it happens.
2-0.
Yeah, snap.
And a red card for Arsenal. 2-1 and a red card for Arsenal.
You know what? I'll tell you what, we were just chatting about it before we come on air. 14 red cards for Arsenal. Just quickly have a quick natter about this. 14 red cards under Arteta for Arsenal.
So how long has Arteta been there? Less than 3 years?
Oh, God, yeah. I'd say 2.
Yeah, less than 3 years, yeah.
Less than 3 years, 100%.
But it was perspective, we're 8 under
We've
Klopp.
8 under Klopp.
Whole time he's been there.
And played a lot more games.
Callum, why do you think they have so many red cards? I have a theory, but I want to hear. We'll see if you have a thought on it.
Xhaka is just a crash waiting to happen.
You put a bet in it, wouldn't you? Oh, sorry, no, we can't talk about it.
Yeah, good odds on that. They just seem to have I'll be honest, Arsenal seem to have a little bit of a nastiness about them. I don't know if you guys remember the game yesterday. Kelleher had the ball and Martinelli goes in late. And I'm like, hold on a sec. There's a nastiness about this Arsenal team.
And he didn't even have
from the manager.
He didn't even have the concept. Well, he's entitled to go for that when they're close and you go, look, it happened.
That's a yellow card. That should have been a yellow
card. The commentator mentioned that was a challenge from the 50s, and the only reason it stuck in my head, I think it was during the FA Cup build-ups. They showed a challenge on a keeper from the 50s, and it was that kind of challenge. Ball came in, keeper caught it, and whoever the forward was came in and absolutely cleaned the keeper out and broke his arm. And back then you didn't have substitutes, so he had to play on. And when he went off, someone else had to go and goal or something like that. But it was just a commentator said it was a tackle from the 50s, and that's the stuff that happens in GA all the time.
Those kind of tackles
on goalkeepers happen all the time.
Well, we won't remember it because none of us are old enough. But Liverpool's first FA Cup final win against Leeds. Jerry Byrne, the left back, he broke his collarbone after 20 minutes. He plays a full game with broken collarbone. And the only time people know he's broke it is in the last 10 minutes where they don't let him take a throw in. Because if he did, they knew he'd already snapped it. You know, that's what it was like back then. It's just ridiculous.
Chris, you have a theory on Arsenal.
Yeah, it's pure childish petulance, which is, we used to be this, we're not that anymore, you're not letting me win, so I'm going to show how committed I am, and I've thrown a dickhead tackle. But pumping heart and all that, Funes Mori style, look at that. I'm really upset, like you fans. Fuck off. You just lost your head. You've got no discipline. And it's petulance because you can't get your own way because you've got the bollocks to work hard enough and actually commit to what you're supposed to do. And look, I can say as a Looper, 10 years ago, we were doing this bollocks. I remember people celebrating John Joe Shelvey. Oh, John, when he snapped the United player and told Ferguson to fuck off. So Ferguson was laughing his arse off going, wind up again. Because everyone knew certain players at Liverpool, wind them up, gone.
Although that wasn't a red card. I remember that day. That wasn't a red card. Man United kind of screwed us over with that. That wasn't a red card. It was a 50-50.
It was a shithouse charity. But they both could have gone easily, but they all knew. And Ferguson got the ref wound up cleverly. And Shelvey fell for the bait every time. But everyone knew if it wasn't Shelby, it was Mascherano would do it, Charlie Adam would do it, and we'd all go, "Oh yeah, but isn't he committed?" At least it means something to him. No, it doesn't. It's just
it doesn't. It's stupid. Yeah.
That's Arsenal over. It's petulance because they can't get their own way.
Quick question. Partey's second yellow, should it have been a straight red?
Yes.
Thank you. Crystal Palace against Liverpool. We're headed back down the motorway to, for me, the most atmospheric away day you can get. I think Selhurst Park is one of those grounds that when it's going, it's unreal. I think
it's a brilliant answer for a night game. I mean, I know this isn't good. Yeah, look, Selhurst, it's always hard.
Vieira's got him playing decent stuff as well. No
Koyate and no Zaha and Ayew though.
Yeah,
which is a big plus.
Big losses for them.
But they've got the young kids, Michael
and Elise.
And Eze
and
Edouard's done well.
Edouard up front. Toka Benteke may be on the move, but nothing's come yet.
There's two rooms, isn't there? Benteke to Burnley or Andy Carroll from Reading to Burnley.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
Typical Sean Dyche.
But he's progressive though.
Do you know what? I'll quickly just say this and I'll skip over it after. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see him take the Everton job,
You Sean Dyche?
Yeah. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see him get the Everton job because I think he's done all he can at Burnley. I don't think they're going to invest anything.
There is some tension there.
They're going. Yeah, I think they're going. They have never backed him, really.
Haven't they got new owners as well?
Only just. But also, if he goes to Everton, though, I think he's in for rude awakening. I don't think there's much structure behind there.
I wouldn't be. I think he needs a new job. He needs a new challenge, and I think Everton would be right up his street. People take the mickey out of him and that, but I'd love to see him doing something with a bit of money.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the most guilty of taking.
Oh, you're terrible! You are absolutely terrible. You're one of the people who smoked 100 pints a day. We're about 70 years old when you goes in on Mr.
If he doesn't move from Burnley soon, he's going to become Alan Kirbishley, which is when he does leave Burnley. He'll be linked to every job, and you never see him again.
Yeah,
But
anyway, back to ourselves. Look,
2-0. I've got.
We have to win.
Yeah,
the next slip up that we make in a league game is the last one.
Providing City don't slip up.
Yeah, but we need them to. I mean, at best, we win our game in hand. We go to the Etihad and we beat them. We're 5 points behind. We still need them to make 2 mistakes.
Yeah,
and us to be perfect.
We have to be perfect. The pressure's massive. The pressure is on now, but that's probably when we will be at our best.
Yeah.
I've got us 2-0. Do you see any changes from the Arsenal game?
I think Karate comes in because they said he was cagey about Matip, as in he said, "Oh, I took him off. It wasn't tactical. So just something wasn't quite right with him." But it wasn't.
But we saw that, and then we were chatting, and we said that ourselves.
Yeah. So, but it didn't specify an inch. So whether he was just under the weather, God forbid it's not a COVID thing, or just got a bit of a niggle, and they've gone you have a niggle and it's I could play through it, and they've gone it's all hampering the way he plays because his passing was horrendous. Apart from the goal, his passing was pretty poor, and his dribbling wasn't like it was. It was just very un-Joel Matip. He got flustered, which Joel Matip doesn't get flustered. He's very laid back. And he's just that kind of character. So I think Karate comes in, deserves a start.
Yeah.
I know people say when's Gomez going to get his chance. He's got to now wait for a Karate or a Matip to have a stinker to get in.
Yeah.
That's his 4th choice for a reason at the moment. I think the rest of the back 4 stays the same. Ali comes back in goal. I think you do Henderson, Fabinho, Jones one more game because they've got 2-week break after this. Well, I say break. England are what friendlies are, but not Premier League football.
Yeah.
The only question is, do you go Taki? Do you go Gordon again? Or if Chamberlain's fit, do you throw Chamberlain in? I think that's the only argument or debate you can have for all three is you can make an argument for all 3 on the right wing. That's probably the only argument.
I think Chamberlain gets the nod.
If he's fit, because he hasn't trained yet. He's only running, so he's not training. That's the thing.
I think he'll get the nod.
because it's
If
Sunday.
not
Not
him, I think it'll be
Saturday, so-
Tacky. I actually think it'll be a harder game for Gordon to play in this game than it was against Arsenal.
Possibly,
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
Especially that atmosphere as well. Those
But-
Palace. I've been to Palace a few times. They are relentless there.
But Gordon could be a good last 20 sub when tired
Yeah.
legs, quick lad. That could work in our favour.
It's his movement that does it. Gordon seems like he's very smart for his age in terms of his movement. I don't think it's an accident that who is we playing that he came on and Minamino put him through and he missed a chance. Was it Brentford?
Yeah.
Brentford, again, that doesn't happen by mistake. The chance, obviously, yesterday he should have scored, but again, you see the movement, make space and he's very smart. He's got to work on it.
He bodes well for the future, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Callum. I think the extra day that Ox would have, I think, and the other side of it is we played Thursday, Sunday.
And he did okay against Brentford. And the good thing is, after this, we've got, for quite a lot of our players, we've got a bit of a break, which will help us. And then we've got Cardiff, and we won't go full strength against Cardiff. We'll be a bit of a mix and match side again. Not as mix and match as it was in the last round.
How are all of the Brazilian lads and Taki heading away for the international break? Or did Bobby get called up?
I think Bobby got called up. And England have got a friendly against Switzerland on the Tuesday, and then 3 days later they're playing the Ivory Coast. That got announced today.
That's not in this window, though, is it? That's in March.
Yep. Oh, March. Oh, sorry, that's March, isn't it?
Yeah, that's in March.
So in which case, so
it's not in this window.
So, someone said Bobby hasn't been called up. So in which case, then it's just Alisson and Fabinho.
Fabinho. Okay, that's not bad.
Which will do Bobby some good because then he can have 2 weeks of full training. So that'll help him.
Well,
have you heard about Fabinho? Apparently, he's been giving it big in the WhatsApp groups to the lads, saying that he's top goal scorer for January. Which
I'll tell you what, he's up there for player for January at this rate. Gava's always said on here that Fabinho is one, when he comes back from injury, he needs a couple of games, and it was glaringly obvious.
Trent's the same.
Yeah, it was glaringly obvious against Chelsea that Kante ran him ragged, and
you could tell his passing, but also you could tell even the Arsenal game. We both said he was on his backside a couple of times throwing in tackles, and we went, he doesn't do that. Unless he's off form, because he's always in the right position and he just pinches it. He very rarely makes a tackle because it's always an interception. Henderson's the same. When they're on form, they're not on their arse throwing tackles in. They tend to
It'll probably do him good going away for the international break, that he'll keep in a rhythm and keep playing, because I think their games are World Cup qualifiers. They're not friendlies, so
I think Taki's the same. I think Taki's is a World Cup qualifier as well.
Yeah, because I mean, you had the Asian games that they have to play the qualifiers. You had the South American Championship going back earlier in the year. Now they have to play their World. This is why this window is being used for that, because they have to make up the World Cup qualifying games somewhere. They should have been playing those games when the South American Championships was on. And because they decided to host it, everything just got moved. It was a disaster. But I've got 2-0 Liverpool. Chris?
What have you got? I had 2-0 as well.
Callum?
2-0.
Full house?
2-0.
Just so you also know, sheets on the bounce line.
At the same time, the women are also away at Palace.
It's not on the same day, surely.
Same day, same time. Different venues.
Why would they do that?
It's happened a few times, but I think what's happened the last couple is we were supposed to play Palace on a Saturday. I think we were supposed to play Palace on a Saturday, and they moved it. A TV moved it, but also got moved because of the League Cup as well. So unfortunately, I can't make the Palace game because of family commitments. So, but Liverpool are top, 7 points clear, but they play the game more. Palace are currently third, and have just beat Durham, who are probably one of the faves to get in and around the title push. So, if Liverpool can get a win, which they're capable of doing, but they get a win on Saturday, it probably knocks Palace out of the running for promotion, which then makes it a Liverpool over Lioness dogfight.
Cool.
So it's going to be a challenge for Liverpool because they've got 2 players missing. One of the main centre backs, Jazz Matthews, is out with a hamstring strain, probably 3 weeks. But to be fair to Liverpool, it's the one area we've got a lot of defensive players, so we're okay. The big loss for us is the centre midfielder, Kerry Holland, who, because we play 5-2-3, which is a very hard system to play. it relies on the two in the midfield, and Kerry Holland is the engine of that midfield. But unfortunately, she's tested positive for COVID, so she'll be back for Lincoln next week in the FA Cup. So fingers crossed. I'm going to go 2-1 to the women.
Right. Went out of the Continental Club midweek.
Yeah, 1-0.
1-0 Spurs, wasn't it?
Yeah, I watched the full game.
Yeah, but that's a good gauge of where the club actually is, because Tottenham.
It was a very tight game. I think they had 4 shots, we had 2. The goal they scored deflected, goes in, can't be held. But look, Liverpool equipped themselves well. They actually played probably the better side second half. Just didn't quite get it. Didn't quite work for it. And unfortunately for us, the goal came when we made because you can make 5 changes in women's football. So we made it 3, and then we made 2 quick ones. And the manager admitted, he goes, we lost rhythm a little bit. He said, but he had to make the changes because certain players were only allowed to do an hour, and then a couple of players picked up cramp, and he didn't want anyone getting injured for the league game. So he kind of sort of made changes, a couple of things that ideally they'd like to have made a bit later. But look, 1-0 against Spurs. I mean, Spurs women this year, this is their second year in WSL. They're chasing down a European spot. They're doing really well. And Liverpool's ex-manager, Vicky Jepson, is now the assistant manager there. So there's lots of good things going on at Spurs there. So, I think it was a good performance. I think they're just a bit unlucky. So,
all right, last 2 games, Leicester, Brighton. I've got 2-2.
I've got 2-2 as well.
This could be absolutely anything.
I think it's going to be 2-0 Leicester with a minute to go, and it'll be 2-2 because that's what Leicester do.
I think they'll alternate. I think they'll alternate goals. I think Brighton go 1-0 up, 1-1. Brighton go 2-1 up, and then 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And the last game, Chelsea Spurs. Thursday, it's the last Sunday game. Big game for Chelsea. It's a massive game for Chelsea.
Well, they are, because if Spurs win their games in hand, they're 3 points behind us. Look, I know it's if my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle, but theoretically, that's what Spurs are chasing down. Yeah. Chelsea, I think I read, are
2 points from their last 12.
8 draws and 12, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's they've really gone off the boil, and they've. I think lads who are digging them out, I've just kind of gone back to the mean, and no one else is stepping up at all. So I've got a 1-1.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 1 as well.
I don't think it's going to be an exciting game because I think both sides will be quite defensive. I think it's going to be quite cagey. This is where it's 5-5 now. I look at Pratt, but we'll be the first time.
I'm going 2-1 Spurs.
I wouldn't be surprised, and it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think Chelsea are as solid as they were.
No,
and I think if he persists with playing Lukaku the way that Tuchel wants to play, it's a square peg in a round hole. He doesn't fit. He's not that type of player. He never was that type of player. He's never going to be that kind of player.
If the
manager can't fit him in, then it's the manager's problem.
If Chelsea want to play 3-4-3, they need to play Havertz as number 9 and say, Lukaku, you're an impact sub. You're never going to do it with a £100 million footballer, but that's what they should do. Or the other option is 3-4-3 worked for him last year because, Chelsea were, let's be honest, a bit of a shit show when he took over after Big Frank Lampard, future Everton manager, which has it all.
They have to play 2 creative wingers if you're playing Lukaku. They have to be super.
I think if you're going to play the best at Lukaku, you're probably going to go 3-5-2 or 4-4-2, and he has to have a partner. His best work was Laura Martinez next to him, but Martinez linked perfectly. They were an ideal front 2. He just doesn't work as a 1 unless you're going to play him in behind. But to be honest, whoever plays a high line against Chelsea, probably only us and City. So everybody else, when they play Chelsea, sits really deep because it's Chelsea. So he's got no one to run in behind. So again, it's another example of, and this is not me saying before the chat goes mad, and I'm not saying we don't buy people, but this is where if you're going to spend big with a strategy. And Chelsea, for all the lauding that they got, is some players they bought, you've gone, it doesn't fit. Pulisic, good player, made of biscuits.
Yeah.
Ziyech, good player, injured quite a lot and can be quite good. Lukaku plays really well, but needs to play in a 2. We don't play as a 2.
And he gets goals in bunches. He's very much how Benteke was at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Everyone used to think, Benteke's got this phenomenal goal scoring record. He used to have purple patches. Son was guilty of that at a point at Spurs as well. Yeah. He started to spread the goals out. But
the only good thing with Son is when he wasn't scoring, his all-round game was still effective.
Yeah, I think that this could be anything. I think it would the right thing for Tuchel to do would be to drop Lukaku and to play Mount and Havertz as a one up and one behind.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone in the summer, by the way,
because it's the one. Yeah, it's the one thing that with Tottenham will play there. Conte is wedded to that system. He's 5-3-2, and he won't change for love nor money.
If Conte came to Liverpool tomorrow, with all the players we've got, you go, we're playing that formation, and that's his formation, and you accept that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure this formation that Chelsea play is ideally what he wants to play. I think he stumbled upon it because it worked with the players he had, and they just haven't adapted it. It doesn't really work now. To
be fair, they did lose Chilwell and Reece James, which are massive losses for their system.
It is, but as we were told last year, suck it up. Injuries happen.
Yeah. Oh no, of course. No excuses.
Get on with it with your squad. That's so deep. I'm not gonna. We couldn't say it last year, so I'm hearing it from. I'm not hearing this bollocks from anybody.
Yeah,
we've got injuries.
Chelsea.
Suck it up then, because apparently you've got the deepest squad going. So get on with it. It's just one of them, isn't it?
Agree.
Well, that's the Premier League.
Dean, makes a great point. None of their centre backs are comfortable playing as a two.
I think Rudiger could. I actually think Thiago Silva could. I think they could.
I think they play as a three. So it protects Thiago Silva's legs, which, to be fair, he's 37. And I think it allows Rudiger to be the roaming one forward. I think he plays as a two. He'd still carry on roaming forward, and you'd be left with like one fella on his own going, "Where have they gone?" And it also allows the two wing backs to cheat, because for all the talk of Reece James, that he's really good. Reece James isn't playing right back; he's playing right mid.
Yeah,
he very rarely he's not to defend anywhere near as much because he's got Aspilicueta behind him playing right centre back. You don't need to. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, anyway, let's get to UFC because I've done my research.
No, I just want to quickly go over a couple of other things first.
Go on, then. Sorry, I'll go back in my box.
No, you're right. Look, we had the NFL last weekend, and for me, the big, huge shock result was the Patriots getting brushed aside by Buffalo Bills by a massive, huge cricket score margin. And the divisional round now is basically the quarterfinals this weekend. Tennessee Titans host the Cincinnati Bengals. You have two traditional powerhouses in the Packers against the 49ers. Then you've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the LA Rams, and Kansas City Chiefs host the Buffalo Bills. And it's starting to shape up now, the NFL season.
Is this for the Super Bowl, right?
They're down to the quarterfinals. It's essentially in our terms the quarterfinals, the divisional round. So
we need to get Féileacáin on.
We have to get Féileacáin on to explain all this stuff because I'm so out of touch with NFL, man. It's not even true. The last time when I used to watch NFL on a regular basis, Tampa Bay Buccaneers they were the whipping boys of the NFL. Finished bottom more often than not, year in, year out. But they signed Tom Brady and Gronkowski from the New England Patriots. And this season, they've really kicked on. They look really, really good. It's just, the Super Bowl is going to be played out of those 8 teams. The top two matches will play each other next week. Bottom 2 matches will play each other next week. And then in 2 weeks' time, we've got the Super Bowl. AFCON into the last 16. You've got Burkina Faso against Gabon, Nigeria against Tunisia, Guinea minus Naby Keita against Gambia because Naby is suspended.
So he might not get injured. God,
I think he's the difference. He's been very, very good.
He's been very. I know I joke. He's played very well for that.
He's been very good, but I think
to be honest, it's probably done some good. A little break in Liverpool, being the main man somewhere else.
Yeah,
you'd like to he might come back, and that could actually.
Yeah, I think he will
kick off for the rest of the season for us, which would be a good thing.
Cameroon versus Comoros, and Cameroon as host country, they to me look like one of the favorites.
Them in Nigeria have been the best too.
Yeah.
Yes. Senegal against Cape Verde. Look, Senegal I think have been bang average, but they should have enough to beat Cape Verde.
Yeah.
Morocco against Malawi. Morocco.
You would think
should.
Yeah.
Keith picked those. I think Keith picked Morocco out from day one.
He did actually, yeah. He said because he said
they don't concede. Going into the tournament, Morocco had 10 clean sheets in their last 11 games.
That's crazy.
But saying that, going into the tournament, Algeria were unbeaten in their last 25 competitive games. In the last FIFA competitive games, Algeria gone, Ghana gone. You know, it's
absolutely.
Absolutely
The Algeria one's
mental.
the Algeria one's a bigger shock because I think when we were looking at top goal scorers, 3 of their lads were in the top 10. You were like, we all went, Algeria got a chance there because they've got loads of goal scorers everywhere.
I'm hoping now that once the tournament gets into the last 16, last 8,
you'd like to think that this normally when international tournaments get fun because that's when you get some like really
the last 2 games,
conservative, hasn't it? So
yeah,
far.
it's. I mean, the thing is, the way
some of the pitches I was going to crack. I
Yeah.
mean, see the goalkeeper hurt his shoulder, his knee.
It's like that had Simon Jones written all over it.
It did, yeah. Callum doesn't know who Sam Jones is. Sam Jones is a cricketer.
Yeah.
But, when he was in Australia, he was trying to chase the ball down, and he slid on the grass to get the ball, and his knee stuck in the ground because it was so heavy. Went over, ripped his ACL, never really played again.
Oh.
And Simon Jones,
same with the keeper. As soon as he hit the ground, his knee sunk into it, and the keeper didn't get up.
Yeah, when England won the Ashes in 2005, Simon Jones was bowling at 94 miles an hour for virtually the entire series. He was lethal. Reverse swing. He was dynamite.
The sad thing is that England side that won the 2005 Ashes, after it won the Ashes, never played again.
It never played again.
At least one of them was out injured. I think within less than 2 years, half that squad was retired because of injuries. And Michael Owen was playing with injections in his knees for 2 years and he could barely walk.
The last 2 games are look. It's a big one that we'll all probably. It's on Wednesday afternoon, 4 p.m. Ivory Coast against Egypt.
That a crack of that
because I don't think it will. I think Ivory Coast will steamroll them. I think Egypt are very poor. Bar Mo Salah, I think they're a bang average side with bang average players, and they're a one-man team. Now that one man is a hell of a man, but at the same time, yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, Ivory Coast are. I think they're the favourites. I think I would put them down as the strong favourites to win this outright. And Mali against Equatorial Guinea rounds it off on Wednesday night. But there's a couple of games in there that could be tasty. Senegal will keep an eye on. I think that's on the Tuesday, and the Ivory Coast against Egypt on the Wednesday. And
I think the Ivory Coast might nick that.
I think they'll win it comfortable, Chris. Honestly, I really do.
Yeah,
I think they'll win it comfortable.
It's bad for Salah. It's good for us because realistically, it means it'd be back a good week before the Cardiff game. So he's got a week to sort of reacclimatise.
I doubt they'll play that Cardiff game though.
Well,
no, but
he might not. But I think they'd like him back for it, just so. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise if they put him on the bench for the Cardiff game, just give him a 20-minute run.
Maybe give him 15 minutes at the end, maybe.
I think Klopp's a bit of a madman. He might just start him just to.
You wouldn't know. Klopp might give him an hour.
Yeah.
You've been back in the country a week, blow the cobwebs off, get us through the next round, and then just have a rest.
Because we saw after the Leicester game, when Liverpool haven't played for a week, we look sloppy.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few players who might go, do you know what, let's get the game won in 50 minutes.
Yeah, I think the Brazilian lads might be rested.
Yeah, you would expect so. I mean, you played Kelleher instead of Alisson against Cardiff. I mean, touch wood, you should be okay.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see. I would be very shocked if we didn't see, depending on what happens with Senegal and Egypt, Mo and
I think
Sadio start. At least they play a half an hour.
I think Salah and Bobby will start because they want. Because Salah, we're thinking we'll be back for a week. Bobby will have 2 weeks of training. I think Jota gets a rest because he's played a lot, and I think Senegal will go quite deep, so he'll probably get a rest. So you might see like Salah, Bobby, Cade, Gordon.
Wouldn't I? I wouldn't mind. That'd
be quite an exciting hour to see, wouldn't it? And then,
I genuinely wouldn't mind seeing that. To be honest,
neither would I. Can you imagine that pace around Bobby? Might actually help him.
Then we're going on to Saturday night, which Callum, I assume you're going to be doing a watch along.
I am indeed.
Big card, UFC 270, headlined by Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane.
Is this the 3M start, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is a rough one.
This is a rough one, yeah.
Brandon Moreno and Devinson
Figueiredo.
They're the two fights that I was going to ask you about.
Can I ask you one question before we get to that one? Just because I need to know this from UFC. The one below that is Michael Pereira versus Andre. I think it's Andre Filo. Is Andre Filo like just started fighting or something?
Yeah, I've never seen any of his fights.
Well, neither of the UFC, because I went on their website to check it, and he's a black silhouette. And I was like, that doesn't bode well. I was sort of going, I'm not a betting man, but I don't think he's winning.
That happens sometimes. Michel Pereira, he's crazy. I know all UFC fighters have an element of crazy. He's fully crazy. He would say, for example, someone's lying on the floor and he's standing above them. Most fighters would just kick their legs or let them stand up. He turns around and does backflips onto people.
I like him already.
He's crazy. He's fully crazy.
That's my kind of guy, though. Yeah, I'll go for him to win. I like him. He sounds nuts.
Start off with Brandon Moreno and Devinson Figueiredo.
Yes,
this is their trilogy. Trilogy fight.
Do you want to hear my prediction? You can laugh at it, though.
No,
go on then.
I think Figueiredo.
Okay. All right. So the first fight
not
they had,
as crazy as what you think.
No. So the first fight they had a
Figueiredo was champion, I think, at the time. Wasn't it?
In theory, Figueiredo would have won the fight, but he hit Brandon Moreno with a really bad groin strike and had a point deducted. So he would have pretty much won the fight by a point, by one round. But I went and it was a draw. They had the rematch, and everyone, including myself, or most people, thought Figueiredo was just going to finish the job this time. And he got dominated on the ground. He couldn't even get past Moreno's jab. This time, he's now training with Cejudo, who's one of the best wrestlers the UFC's ever seen. But also on top of that, Cejudo and Moreno, I don't know if they either trained together or they were good friends. So there's a bit of needle there. I don't agree that Figueiredo is going to win, but I think it'll be a much closer fight than the last one. I'm going for Moreno by decision.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be close.
I feel like that's a bit of a shithouse prediction.
I watched it back today, the second fight, and the finish that he had with the triangle and the body scissors that he had, and he had him on the ground for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was the patience for someone that young, because Moreno's not that old.
No.
It was the patience that he showed to wait for his moment to get the chin, and he ended it. I think it'll be 5 rounds. It'll be a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
I don't see any way that ends quick. Whereas the other fight.
By the way, Red Steve is correct. I am literally backing the people I can pronounce. Because we all know my pronunciation is terrible, but I do know who Ngannou is, to be fair.
Right. Well, if you're in school, right, and a guy named Francis and the guy named Ciryl, because you're meeting them at the back of the shed, you're meeting Francis at the back of the shed, you're meeting Ciryl at the back of the shed. Like, come on.
I'd be like that. Oh yeah.
You go around to the back of the shed.
I'll be like that going, has it gone dark all of a sudden? He's massive. I mean, he's honest to God.
Blocking out the sun, innit?
I see him throw a punch and I flinch. Oh,
yeah.
It's massive. I think you described him. He's not human. He's like a cyborg. He's so scary.
Human
absolutely
beings.
Scary. Brilliant to watch. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant to watch. It's just like you just watch someone go. It's just like watching a lamb to slaughter this. Whoever comes in, I don't care how good they are. Just go, oh my God.
Yeah. UFC as an organization needs these two to be there for the next 3 years, because I think these guys could fight minimum three times.
Yeah.
The talk in the press was Francis Ngannou was talking about Tyson Fury. We're talking two.
So this is where
what's the story there?
This is why I'm siding with Ciryl Gane. So Tyson Fury's been calling out Ngannou, and Ngannou said he wants to box. I think Tyson Fury's doing that because as things stand right now,
there's nothing else.
He's beaten Deontay Wilder 3 times, even though the first one was given as a draw. He's beaten him 3 times. The only other big money fight in the division is Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua doesn't have the belt.
Yeah.
Still generates money, but with him just losing to Usyk, what does Tyson have to gain from that? Because if he beats him, everyone's going to be like, well, you got beat by Usyk. So
isn't it a bit like when originally we're going to have Lennox Lewis versus Tyson, and then Lewis got a shock loss, lost his world title.
Yeah,
he won it back. He won it back, and then you had the fight.
It lost to Hasim Rahman.
It lost the hype because you're going like, because at the time it was like, two the best world champions. One of the shock loss, you kind of went, it lost the hype a little bit, which don't think helps it.
And another thing with this as well, Francis Ngannou wants, him and the UFC are at arm's length regarding contract negotiations as well.
Yeah.
So obviously you guys know you're wrestling. If this goes to decision, we could see a Montreal screw job type of situation. If unless Francis wins this outright and it's so obvious, if it's a close fight and it goes to the judges, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ciryl Gane get it.
Wow. No, but funny. If it is, for those who don't know what the Montreal screw job is, it's somebody was going to leave the company, so the promoter made sure.
At the time, it was Bret Hart was leaving.
Made sure Bret Hart lost the belt when he shouldn't do.
Yeah.
If you're going to screw Ngannou, I'm telling you, mate, don't get. I sort of want to see that because I mean, like, who's telling Ngannou when they go?
Get him out.
They've screwed him. Dana White's not good. You'll never see Dana White again.
Honestly, everyone has to leave the building. Everyone has to leave the state. Leave the state. You and me go to hide, and we've done nothing wrong. The case.
The best thing is, right, for me, these are far and away the two best heavyweights I've seen in UFC, arguably ever.
Yeah.
All right. They have everything. Ciryl Gane is 6'4", 245 pounds of sheer muscle, of calmness, of
cardio,
style, and you said. I mean,
I'm looking forward to this one. I'm so looking forward to this fight.
Gane, Cal, you tell me, Gane, how does he beat Francis Ngannou? Because Ngannou has. I was watching the BT build-up earlier on today, and
was it the Dan Hardy one or?
No, I watched it. It was another one, but I watched the Dan Hardy one as well.
Yeah,
and I think it was the Dan Hardy one where actually was, and he put up 8 knockouts, and he did them in chronological order that lasted 2 minutes. The guy is an absolute freak.
He's scary, but I think what Ciryl Gane has to do to win this fight. He's got to implement leg kicks. He's got to be in and out. Do not even think about standing in range. In and out. Also mixing some wrestling.
Yeah.
If he mixes in some wrestling, then we could see something different. Because Ciryl Gane's not bad on the ground. He cannot afford for Francis to land a clean shot on him in the first couple of rounds. You're not winning in the first couple of rounds. Make sure you don't get beat.
Because if he lands,
done.
Is that because Ngannou doesn't go full distance very often?
He's improved his cardio a lot.
But Ciryl Gane...
Normally, because he doesn't have to, normally.
Yeah, I just think Ciryl Gane gets better as the fight goes along as well. So I think if Ciryl Gane's been able to survive the first 2 rounds without getting hurt, then I think that means he's figured Ngannou out, and then he can start stepping up his pace, and it's whether Ngannou can keep up or not. But if he gets caught in the first couple of rounds, it is going to be rough.
Yeah. For me, I think Ngannou, his key shot is going to be... I was watching the clips that Dan was doing on BT, and he showed a lot of Gane getting in close. He come inside the hooks, and he come inside to stay safe. And look, I grew up playing hurling in the GA, and anyone in the chat who's Irish and played hurling, you're always told to get in tight to whoever is swinging the stick at you, because you're not going to get hurt there. You get hurt when you stand back.
Yeah.
If you're afraid and you stand back and you do something silly, that's when you get clouted. But if Francis Ngannou has worked short hooks into, short, tight hooks, short, tight, straight rights, lefts, his legs are like tree trunks. So I don't think the leg kicks are going to have the effect that they would have on any of the other heavyweights from Gane.
Although it's fascinating. Gane's got massive legs himself, though.
He does, but in fairness, Francis Ngannou's body is like that, and his legs are like that, and they just go in a line.
Like I said,
mean, the guy
he stands behind you. He stands behind you. You're going, oh,
yeah.
You don't want to turn around. You wouldn't want to turn around, would you? Just hit me.
No,
I don't even want to turn around. Just hit me.
When you sit and watch his interview with Michael Bisping, and it's like there's no animosity. Everything is nice and calm. We sparred with each other for about a month. We sparred each other 6 times. Ciryl Gane said, "Yeah, you caught me with a leg kick and you hurt me, and you put me down." But when you're kicking a guy in the head who's 6'4",
yeah,
and that was a while back, you know what I mean? And he's got better. Both fighters have got better.
Yeah.
I'm more scared of someone who's that calm, though. If he's a bit aggro, I'd be all right with that. But when they're calm and they said they're going to do that to you, I'm like,
well, I mean, this is what
controlled anger. Like, this is even scarier.
That was what's so scary about him in the Stipe fight, because in the first Stipe fight, he just went straight for him. He was just trying to knock him out in the first couple of minutes.
And he blew up. He gassed big time.
The second fight, Stipe tried to take him down. He stuffed it. Then he took Stipe down. And then he just started a couple of leg kicks, couple of jabs, and then destroyed him in the second round. You're like, this is a different animal now.
Yeah. And you could see in the body, the physique, how much work he did with his cardio to get into physically great shape. I mean, Dean Regan there in the chat saying Ngannou takes defense, his takedown defense looks so much better against Stipe. It did, but it took a loss to get it, and I think that loss probably woke him up to the fact that
the best thing that could happen to him.
Yeah, the heavyweights who are around the division aren't going to lie down for you. You can't.
Listen, I'm going Ngannou win because I don't even want him to get the hint that I said he couldn't win something. Because I
think Ciryl Gane wins.
As cocky as I am, I
think Ciryl Gane wins it, but I think he wins it probably in the 4th round.
Okay. I've gone 4th round as well.
Yeah,
okay.
I think
Ngannou, just so you know, it wasn't me. It was that one on the other side.
My address is not in the link.
I'll help you out whatever you need. I'm not.
Callum, is there any fights on the card that we should be looking out for?
Cody Starman versus Nurmagomedov. It could potentially be a good fight. Cody's been out for a while. Nurmagomedov, even though his name suggests he's probably going to be a wrestler, he's a good striker. So I actually think that'd be quite an exciting fight.
Is he Kazakh? Is he from Kazakhstan?
No, Dagestan.
So he's Oh, okay.
I think he's related to Nurmagomedov. I think they're cousins.
Damn, man, what are they putting in the water there?
I'm not. Every one of them are just. It's like a
Is that where Arsenal went to get their treatment for the weekend?
for the game.
Yeah. Party asked them for some advice, and it went all terribly wrong.
There's a few other events coming up that were announced. Asanya and Whittaker for UFC. Asanya for UFC 271. Covington and Masvidal for 272 in March. We were wondering what the road back would look like for Covington after his loss, and that road to me looks like get this one out the way and we'll get you back in again.
See, I disagree, Kev. I think he'll fight Masvidal. If he wants the title fight and it's still Usman, I think he may have to win another 2 fights after that because he's not been very active.
Yeah.
So before after the Usman fight, he only fought Tyron Woodley, and Tyron Woodley was on the slide.
Yeah.
Masvidal, I don't think he can get a title shot by beating Masvidal when Usman beat him twice in a row and the second time knocked him out.
Yeah.
I think Colby will have to fight Masvidal and win. I think he may have to fight the Leon Edwards if he doesn't get the fight. I think he'll get the fight with Usman. But I think he'll have to fight Gilbert Burns probably. And dare I say, he may even have to fight Khamzat Chimaev if Chimaev is still winning.
So you're looking at maybe title fight at best Christmas.
I reckon next year.
And UFC London has been announced.
Finally coming back.
You going?
2 years?
Try to.
2 years is it since last UFC event.
What could go wrong?
Who can we expect to see on that card?
So Tom Aspinall is apparently fighting Vulcan. So Vulcan's the person that lost to Derek Lewis in that famous interview when he said, "My balls are hot." Aspinall's
It's a big
he's
problem to have.
English fighter who trains with Tyson Fury, but he also does some training with Darren Till as well. He again is that new age of heavyweights. He's very similar to Gane. He's got fantastic footwork, great boxing, good wrestling as well. So that would be a really good step up in competition for him. And if he can win that fight, it puts him right in the mix for top 5, top 6 opponents, and then potentially making a run at the title.
Wow.
I think also Jack Shaw, he's a Welsh fighter, undefeated if I'm not mistaken, very good wrestler. I think there's news that he might be on the card. Gunnar Nelson, who trains with Conor McGregor in SBG.
Norwegian, isn't it? Or Icelandic or Norwegian?
Icelandic, yeah.
Icelandic. Yeah.
There's talks he's going to be on the card. Don't know who's going to be fighting.
He's been around a long time now, hasn't he?
Yeah. He had a bad injury.
Yeah. He's been out of the game for a while now.
Paddy Pimblett is meant to be on the card as well. So Paddy's probably the biggest name in Liverpool barring Darren Till, and he's just blown up overnight.
See Molly McCann as well?
Knockout. Pardon?
Molly McCann should be on there as well?
Yeah, I reckon Molly will be.
So it'll be a predominantly UK-based card.
I reckon
it'll be a huge show. It'll be a complete sellout.
Well, that was they were meant to do UFC London just before the pandemic. So that was the first event they cancelled.
Right.
When the pandemic first started. So it's nice to see them come back over.
Is there any dates put in for that yet? Or
if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the 19th of March.
19th of March. So it's just after. So yeah, it's 2 weeks after the Covington.
Yeah.
Covington fight. So that's going to be hang on, 19th.
I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 5, 7, 12, 7, 19. Yeah, so that's 2 days after St. Patrick's Day. So that'll be huge. Paddy's Day will be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That'll be a massive weekend.
Yeah.
That'll be absolutely huge because the Six Nations, the rugby will be going on back then around then as well. So that'll be huge for sport.
Laura Duffy in the chat has also got my tactics perfect, which is going into my approach around Ngannou is I don't have to be the fastest. I just got to outrun you two. I'm quite happy to admit, yes, I am. I'm absolutely petrified of him. I just think he's a scary man.
I think, do you know what? UFC need Gane. They need a Gane win. They have to. But in a roundabout way, it would probably be beneficial if Gane won this for both fighters, because depending on how the fight goes, I can't see anything but a trilogy in this. They're just both too good.
Yeah,
it's good the fact it's not a foregone conclusion.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
It's a big issue, which is a big issue boxing has.
And I was going to ask you, Callum. Actually, I mean, I looked there. I just literally did a Google search about an hour before, for upcoming boxing events. Barkhan and Cal Brook,
which is a novelty act. That's a novelty fight, though, isn't it?
He's suffering. So here's the thing: the UFC, as for a fan, is perfect because you've got most of, if not all of the best fighters in one promotion. So you can always make the fights. Obviously, there are some great fighters in Bellator now as well. You got PFL, you got One Championship as well. So it's more spread out than it used to be. Before, it just used to be very concentrated in UFC. Yeah. With boxing, but the downside of that is for the fighters, they don't get paid as much. Whereas boxers get paid a hell of a lot more, but you get so much more politics around it because you've got so many cooks in the kitchen where it becomes silly. You've got belts, you've got interim belts, you've got super belts, you've got diamond and silver and gold belts. It's ridiculous. And it's all for show. It's every organization's all for show. Whereas if they put their pride and ego to a side, boxers would still make their money, but the fans, we'd see some great fights. Crawford and Spence. The whole world's waiting for that fight at welterweight. And we're no closer to seeing that fight.
No, not a hope.
Khan and Brook, that should have happened 5 years ago.
Easy. I mean, we all said the same thing about Mayweather Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Fury again should have fought.
Even the one I saw about Lennox Lewis Tyson. That should have happened a lot sooner than it did, which would have been better because
Fury AJ
close to the prime would have been brilliant. Fury AJ should have happened.
I think fans. This is why I think I'd love to know actually how much do Sky and BT make from pay-per-view, because in this day and age of access, I can't see how they're generating the revenue to create these. It's criminal.
You couldn't justify paying 30 quid for some of the fights that are up.
No, you can't.
People will try and find
next weekend we got the Royal Rumble as well. Sorry, next weekend we got the Royal Rumble. The road to WrestleMania starts next Sunday. I haven't paid any attention to it, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, should we get Callum on next week and we'll go through that? No, Callum's
I'm a bit behind. I mean, I know Brock's champion and Roman's still champion, which was a weird one for me because I thought they would have had like some sort of a fight to see who. Like, I thought Brock would have fought without a belt, but now it seems as though they're going.
He was supposed to, but I think
Roman got COVID.
Roman got COVID, so he just did a bit of a
mad five-way. Really careful with it.
They did a mad five-way, which is hilarious that he won, but it was just like, oh wow, this is actually just a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, are they going down the route of just?
Well, there's talk of belt for belt, or as in for an undisputed, or the other option is one of them might just drop the belt in a shock loss in the next couple.
It'll be Brock. Roman's not dropping the belt before WrestleMania.
Well,
no, it's one of those things that I think
Even if you're not into wrestling, Royal Rumble, it is a bit of good fun pantomime. Like,
and do you know what it is?
You have a laugh watching it.
Everyone is sat there wondering who's got to come in number 29. Who's going to be the shock?
Yeah,
who's going to be the guy?
It's more of a nostalgia act that comes back. You go, oh, Jim Riffin 20 years ago. Oh yeah, he's aged well. And then the summer come out, you go, oh, that's a hard 20 years you've had.
It's funny enough. I've seen a picture.
He can't move.
I seen a picture today. Actually, it was Dean Moxley. I think he's in AEW now, but I've seen a picture.
He
looks fantastic.
Well, he did 3 months in a rehab.
Yeah,
for alcoholism, which is quite a brave thing to admit publicly. But he's come out. He looks a hell of a lot healthier.
There's talk he's going back though to WWE's in there.
No, think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the way he left. I don't think they'd have him.
But I think they could work with that. No, Chris, I think they could work with that. They could definitely work with that.
I think he likes the freedom he has because he's got to do matches against some very big Japanese stars.
Saying Cody Rhodes a free agent again.
We still don't know though if that's true. If it's a bit of a work.
I reckon that's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, because it's tweaked the character, which actually makes him an interesting person to watch now because he's been quite a boring character for about a year. This has actually made him interesting again, which may be deliberate. Going back to UFC though, I don't know if you've seen it, Callum. Have you seen the Bisping film, Michael Bisping film?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't.
I managed to watch it. If you've not seen it, and even if you're not into UFC, it's really interesting. If you don't know about Michael Bisping, Google Michael Bisping eye. Oh my god,
it's bad.
He basically won a world title with one eye.
And do you know what's really bad about it? He's actually a really good guy. Dana should be really grateful to him. He could have sued the UFC for quite a bit of money because the actual fight with Vitor Belfort was taking a supplement called TRT, which is now banned.
Yeah.
And his testosterone was like quadruple what it should have been. And
but if you see his eye now, I wear contacts, but it's like a fake eye. It's like so that it's like he hasn't got an eye basically. No, and the reason he retired at the end was he got whacked to his other eye, and they said, "Oh, it's a detached retina, but it's not as bad as the last one." And he went, "I'm gonna have to stop. I'm literally not gonna be able to see." Yeah. But
guys,
I don't know how past it. I'll never know.
We've been on for 90 minutes now, and I think we've taken enough of these.
And Gav will tell us off again.
Yeah, he always tells us off on a Friday night because we always end up chatting shite for too long.
Yeah. There's only one thing I want to bring up before I go, though, because Anthony brought it forward and I forgot to mention it. He asked, I think last summer we did a Road to Glory where we went through all our European runs of the 90s, which all went well apart from 2005 because it lasted 2.5 hours, which as you can imagine, that's quite long. So he's asked, can we do something like that again, which we might do. He has suggested a season review, which me and Kev might look to do something like that in the summer. If we're going to do a season review, we'll probably have to break one season up into 3 shows.
Yeah.
and break it up that way. Or we could do FA Cup runs, because we've had a couple of good FA Cup runs as well.
We'll do some stuff, guaranteed.
Hopefully we'll have another one this
But that would be
season.
probably a summer job, I would say, rather than
look, we've got a couple
year.
of weeks now with virtually no football, bar the AFCON and other sport, what's going on. The other thing that I wanted to mention was the charity that the channel or the LFC Daytrippers are linked up with at the minute, was Féileacáin. You guys in the chat, if you're new to the chat, like, comment, subscribe, but please check the link below and the links on the LFC Daytrippers social media and the website for Féileacáin. They're a charity who help bereaved parents, who help them get through the loss of a child. Someone who loses a child just before birth or just after. They're a small charity, but funds that they get will help them to run for a substantial length of time. All the details are in the link below. Please check it out. And if you can help out with the golf day or with sponsorship or anything of the sort, get in touch with us. DM Gav, DM the show, and we'll sort that out with you guys. Thank you all very much for everything tonight. Thank you, Callum. Callum, where can everyone find you, and where can people find you tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night you'll be able to find me on the Sanderson Show YouTube channel. Usually you guys can find me on Kopish, as well as various other channels, especially here as well. Obviously, Kev, Chris, thanks for having me. I was not very subtle in my hints of saying I wanted to come on this show. So
I think it was 4 weeks ago. I'm on your show. I was like, oh, right, okay, like that, is it?
I was just like, I've not had an invite yet, but I know a guy. So no, thanks for having me, guys. Always love being on this channel, and yeah, we'll do more of these as well.
Yes, absolutely. Chris, what are you up to for the weekend, mate? What's the plans?
Nothing really. Nice chill weekend. I'll just watch the Liverpool Crystal Palace men's team on Sunday. And I'll be keeping an eye on the women's game on Twitter. And all being well, I will be pre-recording the next women's show on Monday. So at some point next week, we'll have a women's show out, which will be me, Neil Atkinson from the Outfield Rap, Philippa Smallwood from the Outfield Rap, and the ever good Emma Sanders from the BBC. So, and I am trying to get some more interviews, but try and tie a football club down to talk to me, which is very hard.
But in fairness, all of the one thing that I would suggest to anyone when you're watching us, and I do the same for any YouTube channel that you're watching, click the like, the comment, the subscribe as you do, but also turn your notifications on in your settings on your whatever device you're watching, so that whenever a show that you want to watch goes live, you will get a ping and you can go straight into it, just in case anything decides to pop up that you think you missed or that you might have missed, and you can watch it back. It's well worth going into your settings and just checking that. But that is all from us tonight. Again, thank you to Callum for coming on with us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Christopher, thank you very much. And
thank you, my friend.
We'll see you all again next week. We'll be back on Sunday with the post-match show, probably myself and Gav, and then Fatback 4 on Sunday night. We're having a day off tomorrow, so enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you all again next week. Take care. Good night.